Hello, welcome to the Modifying the Hello World program lecture. We're going to be looking at the original Hello World program here, and we're going to be modifying it using escape sequences and some variable declaration. So basically we're going to be applying what we've learned this section and seeing how we can modify the Hello World program which we started off with and get some more interesting output. So here we have the original Hello World program. There are a few differences. First of all, the name of the class is now modified Hello World, and in order to correspond with that, I've changed the file name to modified Hello World as well. So remember, the class name and the file name need to always correspond. And next, everything else is completely the same. It's just a different class name and a different file name hence. So let's compile and run to make sure everything's working smooth. So here, we compiled and now we run, and we got our result of Hello World, which is exactly what we needed. Now let's start off by making some changes. So if you remember, an escape sequence is a backslash followed by a character. So let's start by using the \n escape sequence, which makes everything after it start printing on a new line. So over here, if you look at it, we have the system.out.println method, which is part of the standard output object, which we talked about. This is a built-in method, and it's this method, because it's println, it starts printing on a new line. And now, so we're using an output method, and now if I were to put a \n over here and save the program, and now if I were to compile and run this program, because of this \n, we would see after the hello, the computer would interpret the \n and print world after it. And that's basically the function of the escape sequence. It can make the world continue printing on a new line, and this is useful depending on whatever your specific requirements of your program are and whether that's how you need to display output. So that's an example of the \n escape sequence. Now let's say that I actually wanted to print hello \n and not just something like this, or let's say I wanted to print hello \. So what I would do is, this is how it originally is, and let's say I want to put a space between the hello and the \. So I would put a space right here. I would put 2 backslashes, and remember that this is an escape sequence which makes 1 backslash get printed out. And this escape sequence is used because the computer can get confused whether you actually want to print out a backslash or you're indicating an escape sequence. And then I'll put another space between those 2 backslashes, and I should be good to go. So I'm going to save the program. I'm going to compile the program, and then finally I'm going to run the program. And now, as you can see, we have a backslash showing up. And because we put 2 backslashes, the computer knew that the program knew that we needed to print out a backslash, and hence it printed out a backslash. So that's why escape sequences can be confusing, because sometimes the computer will think that you don't want to print out a backslash when you actually do. So when needing to print out a backslash, put 2 backslashes to indicate that you'd like to print it out. So now let's restore it to its normal position. And let's say that I actually want to keep these quotes outside the string. So if you remember, the quotes outside of the string are to indicate that whatever the text inside of it is part of a string. So let's say we actually want to print out quotes. I want to say quote hello world quote. So then what I do is, here I put a \quote, and over here I would put a \quote. Now once I've completed that, I would save it, I would compile it, and I will run it. And now, as you can see, it prints out as quotation hello world quotation. So this \, quotation is another escape sequence which helps us actually print out the \. Again, the computer could get confused because usually double quotes are used to indicate whether it's a string or not, and sometimes when they're double quotes, the computer doesn't know when to print it. So if you'd like to get them printed out, use the escape sequence \, double quotes. And the last escape sequence I'll be demonstrating for this lecture is the \t escape sequence, which basically makes the printing continue while moving 1 tab to the right. So first of all, let's restore the original program. So now we remove these escape sequences, and let's say that I want to put a tab between hello and world so that they have a little bit of a gap so that we can actually read them. So what I would do is I would put \T. Okay, now what that should do is it should print hello, it should move one tab to the right, and then it should print world. So let's try it. We save the program, we compile the program, and now we run the program. And as you can see, it printed out hello, then world should have gone there, but because of the \T escape sequence, it moved one tab to the right and then printed world. This is the last escape sequence I'll be demonstrating, and as you can see, the purpose of escape sequences are to get whatever you wanted printed out in a certain way, whether it be with quotes, backslashes on a new line, or in a different tab. And escape sequences are immensely useful if your program requires them. If your program requires a formatted output. And next, we'll be looking at some of our variable declarations, and then we'll be printing out these variables. So let's start off by printing out a nice string. So if you remember the string variable declaration, first we go string, first we type string, then we type the variable name, let's call it text, and then we put the equal sign, and then what we do is we put quotes, because it's a string type, we'll put a quote to start it off, we'll put down our string, which in this case will be Moksha is cool, which is true, but again, that's not the point. And we finish off with double quotes to indicate the start and the stop of end of the string, and then we put a semicolon. Semicolons really important, make sure you get those in. And once you've done that, you can see that you've defined a string now. So now the computer knows that there's a text variable that's of type string, and the value of it is Moksha is cool. So now let's replace this hello world with the text variable. So simply what we would do is we just type text, and the computer knows that the text is just like the text variable which we have defined. So when it prints out, it won't be printing out just the word text like the variable name. It'll be printing out the value of text, which is Moksha is cool. So let's give it a try. Let's go to save, let's go to compile, and then let's go to run. So as you can see, it prints out Moksha is cool. And that's exactly what we wanted it to do. Now, if you recall, there was another way of printing out, defining a string or declaring a string. So it's string text2. We can't have the variable of the same name because that'll confuse the computer. And then let's say we're going to keep it as Moksha is awesome this time, which is again another true statement. And now instead of doing this, let's try the other way we did it, which is new string parentheses quotation marks Moksha is awesome. Exclamation mark quotation marks parentheses semicolon. Now this is the same declaration. I could make this Moksha is cool, and these two have the same purpose. So text 1 is the same as text 2. And now let's say we want to print out text2 to see if this variable declaration is working. So we go save, we go compile, and then we run. So as you can see, when we printed out text2, Moksha is cool worked. So both of these ways are good ways to declare variables, and both are completely fine. We'll go over why this is a unique way later, but I recommend going with this way for now because it's much more simpler and you'll be less prone to error. Now, let's say that we want to just define the variable and we want to assign it a value later. So let's say we go string text, and then what we do is we go text equals. Because text is a string type, we'll have the quotation marks and we'll say I love this course. So that's our text, and semicolon at the end as always. So basically we're first initializing or creating a variable called text of string type, and then after that we're assigning a value in another line to this text variable by using the equal sign and saying it's equal to I love this course semicolon. So now let's make sure that we change this to text because our text2 variable has been deleted. And if we were to leave it as text2, it would actually show up as an error because the computer no longer knows what text2 is. So now let's save the program, let's compile the program, And then let's run the program. And as you can see, it prints out I love this course. So it's both ways work. You can either give a value to the variable when you declare it, or you can give it later, and then you can put the variable name over here. Now let's say that we have an integer type, which we very well could. So let's say we have int number, and let's say that we have and then let's say we have number, which is the variable name and of integer type, and we say int variable equals 100 semicolon. Now we want to print out this number, so we put in number over here, and then we click. So we have a variable of name number of integer type and value 100, and we want to print it out. So we go save, we go compile, and then we click run. And as you can see, we ran modified hello world and we got an output of 100. Now instead of declaring this variable later, what we could do is we could delete this and we could just give it a value right now of let's say 123. Now we save it, and again this number is going to be printed out, which is in variable of type integer and value 123. So now what we do is we've saved the program, we compile, and then we run, and as you can see 123 is printed out. So we're just messing around. In this lecture we've been messing around with the original Hello World program and modifying it. We've been using some different escape sequences such as \n, \\, quotes, and \t, and they've all helped us modify our output and format it. Then we've also been declaring strings and integers, and we could also do doubles and booleans, but it's the same deal. And we've been declaring them in different ways, and then we've been assigning values in different ways, and then we've been printing them out. And for printing them out, we're using a method of the standard output object, which is the println method. The println method starts printing on a new line. So that's really awesome. And then that's all we have for this lecture. So we've modified the Hello World program to use escape sequences and defining variables to create this program. Thanks for watching.